Sales just jumped 34% in the last 30 to 45 days, but the prices are still not exploding. So what the hell is actually going on in the market right now? Because depending on who you listen to, hopefully Charles with Beaton Brothers Property Experts most of the time, you'll either think the market is crashing or that it's heating back up. And the truth, it's neither one of those. And that's exactly why most people get this wrong. Let me break this down to you because this is what's actually happening in our market here in Colorado Springs. And this is where people either win or they're missing their window completely. Let's start with what just happened over the last 30 to 45 days here in Colorado Springs. In February, we had 773 homes sell. In March, 1,036. That is a 34% spike in sales. That's not a small bump. That's not just things are improving a little bit. Buyers didn't slowly come back. They came back fast. Now, this is where it gets weirdly interesting because inventory did go up. It went from 2,926 homes to 3,057 homes. That's a 4.5% increase. Sounds good, right? More homes, more options, better for buyers, but not so fast. Because at the exact same time, demand went up 34%. So let me make this translatable to you. Help me help you. I went all Tom Cruise there for a second. So buyers are coming back way faster than homes are hitting the market. That right there is what we call tension in the market. That's why the market feels weird. That's why buyers feel pressure again, even though inventory is still rising. And inventory isn't just rising because more people are putting their homes on the market. Inventory is also rising because of what's happening in our town with all of the new build and development and construction. Like I said in my previous videos, they have enough land here to build for the next 45 years already between several developers. It's just a way of life. It's a part of life here in Colorado. They will develop every single thing that they absolutely can. These trees that you see in the background here, those will probably be gone someday and there will be apartments over there or some type of development coming in. Now let's talk about behavior in our market. Today, we're down to about 61 days of days on market, which back in January, if you guys remember my video that I put out in February, we were sitting about 74 days on market. Today, we're down to 61. That's a 13-day drop for single family homes in just 2 months. And what does that mean? Buyers are hesitating less. Homes are moving faster. The market is starting to pick up momentum again. And this is not what crashing looks like, folks. I hear that all the time. Well, we're going to wait for the market to slow down. We're going to wait for it to crash. Well, like I said in all of my other videos, news flash, I don't think the market's ever going to crash here in Colorado Springs. It can slow down, it can speed up, but we probably won't see a crash. Now let's move on to prices. This is where a lot of people are getting confused, especially if they're coming from other states, maybe even other countries. I'll tell you what, I love buyers that are coming from New York, DC, Hawaii, because they come here, and I forgot to mention California, they come here and like, man, this is cheap. You can get a lot of house for the dollar. Not so much the case for the rest of the country. It's really, really tough. I was one of these guys when I moved here as well. When I came from Georgia or Tennessee, or we have clients coming from Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, there is a huge price shock. But I have to say, prices is where the majority of people lose their minds because yes, we see price reductions everywhere. About 30 to 35% of homes easily across the board have a price cut. What does that mean? You go on these third-party sites, Zillow, Realtor.com, TruliaHomes.com. Our MLS, you have this little, red arrow that points down. That means that the price was reduced. But the average price reduction is only about 2 to 5%. We're not seeing crazy price reductions. And I'll tell you what, that's not panic selling, it's strategic pricing. Sellers are adjusting, but they're not giving their homes away either. And furthermore, prices are not crashing. Let's talk the median price because that is really important for markets across the country, but specifically here in Colorado Springs. In February, I said the median price was $465,000. Well, March, it's about $475,000. We jumped $10,000 in just 30 to 45 days. Still slightly down from last year, but here's the reality. Prices are not falling off the cliff. They're bouncing back in and around the range. Prices are not falling off a cliff. They're bouncing back in this range that we have. And I have to say, prices are not dropping. Prices are being negotiated. Now let's talk about pricing when it comes to time of year. Look at the weather. We just hit early April as I'm recording this video, April 7th. Now let's transition into sellers. New listings jumped from 1,418 to 1,760. That's a 24% increase, which makes sense. Spring is here. People want to be done and closed with their transaction process of getting into a home or getting out of a home before the kids get back in school again in August. So what are they doing? They're listing their homes right now. March, April, May, probably the 3 best months to list your home as a seller and get the most traffic through your house, translating into probably the most dollars in a certain time period for your home. And this all makes sense because the spring market is here. We're already in full swing. But even with that increase, demand is still outpacing the supply that we have here in Colorado Springs. That's why things are starting to feel competitive again. Since I started recording this video, I got a notification here. I have an agent that's showing a plethora of houses to these clients right now. I think they're at about 30, which is pretty uncommon, but they're looking at a lot. They just want to make sure that they find the right house, which is exactly what we want for them. Well, they have 8 showings scheduled for tomorrow. 2 of them just went under contract. And just last week, we had a house that we put on the market Thursday afternoon, and we got a full list price offer, 0 seller concessions within 48 hours. And I'll tell you, that has not been common. That has not been the case. That is an outlier, an absolute variable, because the average days on market when we listed were just under 70. Does that mean that we're rock star listing agents? Probably, but there's other things that go into it. Now, so far, let's talk about what this means. If you're a buyer, let me make this real simple, guys. You had a window, and that window is starting to tighten back up. It's starting to close a little bit. You've got more options, yes, but you're also going against more competition because there's more buyers. Just like I said, when I started out this video, 34% spike in contracts over the last, or closings, I should say, over the last 30 to 45 days. Now, if you're a seller, you can still win in this market, but you better price it right, because if you don't, it's still going to sit. You will reduce, as we've seen. That's one of the best ways to get your house under contract is, 1, price it right from the start. We don't like to chase the market. We want to price it right from the start so that it does go under contract. You don't list a home to have it sit on the market for 3 to 6 months. You list a home because you have an objective. You have a reason that you're trying to sell, and you need to meet that objective, so you need to sell your house. So that's what we need to do as listing agents and as sellers, is price it right from the start. And if you don't, you will reduce, and then the market's going to punish you for it, because I'll tell you what, you're going to get the highest and best offer in the first 2 weeks of being on the market. You're going to have the most motivated buyers that are looking at your home day one, and the first offer you get is usually the best offer. And I'll tell you, the buyer that comes through the doors after your home's been on the market for 80 to 120 days, if they're anything like us, when we're buyer's agents, we're like sharks. We're going to smell blood in the water. It's been on the market for a while. There's been price reductions. We're going to shoot for the jugular. We're going to go for it. And whatever you reduce, let's say that you were listed at $550,000. Now you're listed at $499,000. Well, it's been 120 days, still no contract. We're probably going to shoot below that with seller concessions. And for our sellers, we absolutely don't want that. Now, the controversial take, and timing is everything. I get that, but I'm just going to say it straight to you guys. If you're sitting around and waiting for the market to crash in Colorado Springs specifically, or anywhere in Colorado for that matter, you're going to miss your opportunity to get a decent deal. And I'm going to tell you why. Military demand is not going anywhere. Uncle Sam is going to keep moving those GIs in and out of this town, whether you guys like it or not. People are still moving here that aren't in the military for obvious reasons. Inventory is still historically tight, and buyers just proved they're ready to jump back in. And I'll tell you what, I've mentioned it many times before, but January 2026, for the first time in 38 months, our rates went down below 6% organically. As of today, we're back up to 6.125%. However, that little bump of motivation where the rates went down a little bit got enough buyers to jump right off the fence and jump right back into the game. Now, I'm very curious to see what the next 30 to 45 days tell when I do this same video about a month and a half from now, and I compare all of the market stats from this past month in March to April stats, and then I put that video out in early May. So in summation, guys, we had some pretty good stats that we went over that are pretty eye-opening if you're in this market. Now, the market didn't crash. It reset. I've said this many times before. And now it's going to start moving again. And if you understand that, you're in a position to be a winner. You're in a position to win. You're in a position to lock in a sweet home at the right time and get the best deal that you're going to have in a 24-month rolling cycle. And just to recap, guys, the stats that we went over, this is like the aha moment or the holy crap or, the eye-opening stats here. So inventory, active homes went up 4.5%. So supply went up 4.5%. Demand went up 34% based on homes sold month over month that we have seen. Days on market went down from 74 days in January down to 61 days in March. What is April going to look like? What is May going to look like? I'm willing to bet we're going to get down to the high 40s, low 50s. We'll see. You guys will have to stay tuned for the next market update video that I put out to get those stats. Because what I'm doing, guys, is I've pulled 7 slide decks from our association, the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors, and I've combined all of those stats. So this is real data, true, that just came out, a few days ago, and I'm giving all of this information to you guys. Price reductions. Again, 30 to 35% of all homes are seeing reductions, but those reductions are pretty small, anywhere from 2% to 5%. We're not seeing crazy price reductions like you may have seen in the past. And I have certainly never seen those in Colorado Springs. This is a pretty average stat for price reductions in our market. Sometimes we only see people reduce the price by $1,000. And what does it do? Kind of reboost those algorithms on all those third-party sites and makes it look like a new listing, kind of like when you're having an open house. It kind of cheats the algorithms to make it look like it's a newer listing because now you're getting much more visible because you're advertising, hey, I have an open house. Prices are stuck in this range right now. $465,000 is the median price last month. $475,000 as the median price for closed homes, single-family homes. And what does this tell us? Spring is here. We see this every single year. Homes sell every single month, but we notice we have this bell curve that happens March, April, May, and June. And then it really starts to taper off July, August, September, October, November. Who's trying to close a house on Christmas Eve? Not as many people that are trying to close on a house to get their kids in school, to get that summer started. It's just a fact. We see it all the time. So if I could break up this whole video in 3 phases, I would say 1, the market stalled quite a bit. And now we're seeing it shift, which is phase 2. We're starting to shift. And then phase 3 is where we're at today. This is where the market picks up and it starts going. I'm really excited to see what the next quarter shows us. Quarter 2 and quarter 3 are typically the strongest months in real estate. I'm really excited to see what it brings us and our clients. Now, this is a bonus stat, guys. This is something that's really cool. In our market, the $300,000 to $600,000 price range dominates our market, dominates our inventory, and this is where a lot of those stats are coming from. You've heard me say this term before. Real estate is very hyper-local. Things are going to be different in my neighborhood than they are in somebody else's neighborhood and across town in a different neighborhood, from the north side to the south side to the east side to the west side. It's going to be different. It's going to be hyper-local. But one thing that really stays the same, this $300,000 to $600,000 price range has always dominated our market, and that's where we're seeing most of our activity. Anything below that, anything above that is typically an outlier, and I would certainly say the $600,000 to $900,000 price range is a whole nother level. And then you have your $1 million to $1.5 million, and then you have your $2 to $3 million, and then you have your 4+ million, I will say, are the different brackets that we're seeing different activity. But I am putting out these videos for the bulk of the buyers that live in that $300,000 to $600,000 price range in our market. And Charles, why is that our average price range, or why is that the hottest price range in our market? Well, I'll tell you, half of our market is military, and what they want to spend on their monthly mortgage payment is usually very close to what BAH is. And if you don't know what that is your basic allowance for housing that they get as part of their pay. And it varies by rank, it varies by time in service, but it does not vary by branch. It's the same across all of the military, unless you have certain pays, like you're an airborne trooper and you have jump pay. Whether you're a linguist and you have additional pay for your language speaking abilities, or you might be a doctor, or you might be a certain specific profession in the military where they do give you a little bit of bump of pay. Now, I say this in a lot of my videos, guys. If you are thinking of buying or selling a home here in Colorado Springs, El Paso County, Teller County, Douglas County, really anywhere on the Front Range, pick up the phone, give us a call, shoot us a text. We're all over on the internet across all social media platforms. We have our website, BeatonBrothersPropertyExperts.com. Shoot us a DM, shoot us a text message. It doesn't matter. Comment on this video. We will respond, and ask us questions. Ask us tough questions. That's what we're here for. We're here to educate all of our sellers and buyers. And what you're seeing here on these YouTube videos is just a microdose of what we love to give our clients before they start signing the dotted line. My team and I are here every single day in this market, and we'll help you guys make the right move, not just the fast, quick, and easy one. We want you guys to be happy with the decisions that you guys are making, because you are the most educated person in this market when it comes to buying and selling homes. Besides us, of course, we are the educators. And thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm Charles Beaton with Beaton Brothers Property Experts, located here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, but we do work the entire Front Range. Give us a call if you have any questions. You guys know where to find us. Let's go!